What is military money and more that I just wrote all about? Well, first and foremost, when you break it down, let's go ahead and break it down a little bit chapter by chapter. First and foremost, on the introduction, I literally just talk about why is it so important for financial literacy. And some examples would be the fact that, if through my research, probably over 80% of our veterans and active duty members are just not financially sound enough to be able to purchase a home or make long-term investments. The average person has less than $500 in their savings account, which is a travesty. And the fact is, we're going to teach you a step-by-step, how to build wealth while on active duty, or even if you get out. This is just to really give you the foundation of financial literacy. In the very first chapter, we talk about the financial battlefield for military families, talking about that service members are trained for combat, not necessarily for credit. And so we're going to talk about some of the financial traps that a lot of our service members fall into. That includes the age-old thing of a lot of service members getting sucked into like payday loans or buying that really expensive car that has like a 25% interest rate. These are the kind of things that we're going to help try to avoid. In chapter 2, we talk about the reality of financial mindset. It's about the mindset shift to change it from worrying about actually paying your bills on time. Don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating not to pay your bills, but it's about learning how to pay yourself first. It's a mindset shift that a lot of times we forget about. And so in this book, we're going to dive into how to change your mindset to make sure that you're paying all your bills on time, but at the same token, taking the time to set yourself up for success and invest and making your investments an actual bill. In chapter 3, we talk about the 4 steps of budgeting. Because when it comes to budgeting, it's not just about, like, a lot of times we, get into financial distress and we get sent to the command financial specialist depending on your service, and they help you build a budget. But there's some more key things that you could do to really break it down. And an example would be is you need a full-on budget on what you're currently spending, and then you need your survivability budget. And in that survivability budget, we actually you can learn the delta on the must-haves versus the nice-to-haves to allow you to prioritize your budget. In the 4th one, we're talking about improving and maintaining good credit. My mom once told me when I was growing up that credit's like money in the bank. Because, like, for example, you can always get a loan if you don't have the greatest credit. The difference is how much you're paying for that loan to borrow OPM or other people's money. If you have really good credit, it's going to cost you less to borrow that money. Whereas if your credit's not the greatest, you're a higher risk for that borrower. So therefore, they're going to charge you more interest. That's why credit's like money in the bank. In chapter 5, we're going to talk about leveraging compound interest. Albert Einstein once famously said that the invention of compound interest was humanity's 8th wonder of the world, because you literally learn the power of 7, where your money will literally double every 7 years. And so in this book, we'll show you some different strategies on how to really leverage compound interest to start building wealth. And then chapter 6, we talk about the different kinds of vehicles for investments. We talk about the thrift savings plan. We talk about everything from just getting your own private account to using a fiduciary financial advisor. And we even talk about there are different vehicles like, your Acorns and other different vehicles you can use to invest. In chapter 7, we talk about the military benefits that help you build wealth. This includes leveraging your education benefits like the GI Bill or your BAH or other VA programs that help you build wealth in the long run. All right, in chapter 8, we're going to dive into the advantage of the VA home loan benefit and the fact that it's literally the best loan product out there. And if there's anybody in our industry, like a lender that tries to talk you out of using your VA home loan, you need to run, because it really is the best interest rate. It's the best terms. So, it's all about learning about what the different things and how to strategize and leverage your benefits that you earn with the VA home loan benefit. In chapter 9, we talk about the real estate as a wealth building tool. So, we've already talked about the, leveraging compound interest in investing, but now we're also going to talk about another vehicle for building wealth, and that is real estate itself. Whether you're buying one for your primary residence and you're building equity in that, or you're actually leveraging and buying investment properties. And we'll talk about all kinds of different tricks of the trades and hacks on how to build wealth leveraging real estate. And then in chapter 10, we dive a little bit deeper into that and into more details on how to leverage real estate to build long-term wealth. So chapter 10, we get a little bit more in depth about that. And then chapter 11, we talk about transitioning from the military to becoming a civilian and transitioning with a strong financial background. We'll talk about what some different options you can do to set yourself up for success when it comes to when you get out and leveraging the benefits that you have. And then in chapter 12, we talk about leveraging life insurance, because remember, investing is about having your money in multiple buckets, because if one takes a hit, you should have another one that's doing well, and that's where it offsets. Your goal is to build wealth slowly. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. In chapter 13, we talk about financial independence and retirement planning for veterans. So, in the beginning, we talk about just setting yourself for success, but then we're also going to talk about how to set yourself up for retirement, because a lot of people rely completely on their pension, but there's so many other ways to set yourself up so you never have to worry about finances again. Finances, if you really think about it, is the number one reason for divorces and quite even for suicide. So that's where we want to really solve this. And then in chapter 14, we really dive into bringing it all together in the Military Money and More blueprint. And that's where we kind of pull all of it together to give you actionable items to build wealth now. And then last but not least, we do have a couple of bonus chapters to show real life examples on people who have gone through the military and still been successful, both in trials and tribulations. So I wanted to show some real life examples. So this is just an overview of the book. I'm really excited for this, guys. And so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to go ahead and follow me, reach out, DM me, check us out at traviswinfield.com. That's where a lot of this information on my book is. And again, we're so excited to release this and really help move the needle for all of our military members when it comes to financial literacy. Take care.